letter. I got the letter from the province of British Columbia letting me know that, I have been exposed to COVID. There was a kid or a young person at the fencing class that I go to twice a week that has COVID. And so a confirmed case of COVID. And so now I am having to self-isolate now for my quarantine. And so there's been so much chat on the internet, or at least maybe I have all of these alternative friends who don't really believe in COVID, don't even really believe that it exists, or haven't met anybody. Well, you've met me. I don't have it, but I am now having to sit still. Luckily, I'm a pretty hermity kind of person. Most of my business is online. And so I just wanted to bring this up to you because it's swirling around so much. And if you're trying to build a business, if you have a bricks and mortar business, oh my goodness. So luckily my fencing coach makes us pay in advance for our sessions. And so I'm going to have to stay at home. So I'm not going to get my fencing. So we're going to do quite a bit more dance o'clock. And I just sort of got a message that I needed to hop on and talk to you guys about taking really excellent care of yourself right now. Really, really excellent care of yourself. And so, for me, what I do for myself, quite often people are like, well, Jennifer, what are you doing? How are you taking care of yourself during all of this? And, so what do I want to tell you about? Mostly, I just want to tell you about your own awareness and, how thoughts become things and how you can be pure of thought just for yourself. It's not up to me to tell you what you should do with your body and what you should do with your thoughts. Because there's so much out there. And one thing that I did learn from a modality that I taught for years and years is 98% of our thoughts and feelings and emotions aren't even ours. And then I've been in a year-long immersion learning about something called human design. And so there's this thing called the body graph. And there's a huge percentage of the population, the top two chakras, the crown chakra and the third eye chakra, aren't even defined. So any information that comes in there is basically coming in on what I call the psychic Wi-Fi. And so right now, depending on how much we're paying attention to mainstream media, how much we're paying attention to, what's going on in the outside world, which most of us, you kind of can't get away from it. You've got your smartphone and it's like beeping and, doing whatever the heck it's doing. And, you're getting email messages from people. And yeah, it's interesting. I ended up getting an email from the coach of our fencing club. And we've been so careful. We've been wearing our masks and we've been like sanitizing and all of the things. So it's highly unlikely that I'm going to get sick. However, like the thought of it, it's like, oh my goodness, I thought that COVID was something that other people were exposed to, even as careful as I've been, even as hermity as I am naturally. It's here. So what can I do now is a really great question that you can ask. And, what of these thoughts, if any of them are even mine? So if thoughts become things, how can I make sure that the thoughts that are coming into my head are the ones that I would like to take up residence inside my head? Are they thoughts that empower me? Are they thoughts that make me feel happy? Are they thoughts that make me feel on track? Are they thoughts that make me feel healthy? And if they're not, then what can I do with them? What can I do with them? And yeah, I think that that's really why I wanted to pop on, you guys, is I wanted to give you some information that, yeah, COVID's real. People are getting it. I now know, including this kid from my fencing club, I now know 5 people who've had it, and I don't know about this kid's convalescence with it, whether they're being affected by it too terribly. But the other people, the other 4 people that I know, had really quite a long recovery from it. And so they're adults, so maybe it just smacks adults in the face a little bit harder than it'll smack this kid. And I really hope this kid has a really short convalescence with this. Hopefully they're really healthy because they're working out all the time and, working out their frustrations fencing. Yeah. So if 98% of our thoughts and feelings and emotions aren't even ours, then one of the things that I actively do is I think, okay, well, if I'm going to think about something, if I'm going to allow something to take up residence in my brain and in my body and in my aura, then what thoughts do I want to have in there? And so one of the things that I do when I find myself stressing about business or stressing about life or stressing about where my next clients are coming from or how I'm going to pay my bills, none of which is real, none of it. It's just not real because we program our realities. So one of the things that I've been doing is I've just been flooding my life with love. And you might be like, okay, Jennifer, that's just a little bit weirder than we expect from you, but why not? You're listening and watching. I have 5 people listening and watching right now. So what if love was the thing? And it's so cool. I had a conversation with my friend who has this group about fruitful conversations. And she was saying, she asked a question like, what's the most remarkable thing that's happened to you this year? And like COVID has been such a giant gift to me. Like my business is completely restructured. I'm receiving way more support from my friendships, way more support from my clients. It's like mutually beneficial in a lot of different places and spaces. And, so that's what I love to invite you to, is that if you invite in so much love into your life and into your home and into your business, and, basically like push out everything that doesn't match the frequency of love. And it's so funny. My human design is called the right angle cross of the vessel of love. And I'm just basically here to like love people. And I do that, with business coaching and showing people how to connect better to the earth and, show them how to connect better to their partners and their kids and, to their own selves. Because here's the thing. For me, that's the number one reason why I'm here. I'm here to actually show people love and what love can be. Aw, Lisa. Love you, Jennifer Kramer Lewis. That's so nice. Lisa's from New Zealand. She must be up early. So awesome. And what's the second thing I want to talk to you guys about? Well, I want to talk to you guys about trust. Because here's the thing. We're all on our own individual journeys with love. And what if we could actually trust that the love that is due to us in this lifetime is going to come to us? And if we just refuse everything that doesn't match the love that we would like to receive, and, we don't go chasing love down the beach, love me, please. What if we just actually loved that, loved ourselves so incredibly much? Like, what if we just asked that question, hey, is this a loving choice for me? Is having this disagreement with somebody a loving choice for me? Right now I'm really quite chunky. So it's like, picking on my body and picking on my food choice loving to me? And I know it's not. I've been actually having that conversation with myself quite a bit. And, what are the loving choices? Is, freaking out about finances loving to me? Is, having this type of business model loving to me? Is having this type of clientele loving to me? And if it's not, you guys, you don't actually have to choose it anymore. So, imagine that your life is just a TV show every day, and you just choose who gets to be on your TV show, and you choose who doesn't get to be on your TV show. You can like write them out of your TV show. You can just actively invite them to not be with you if they can't be loving to you. And, not many of us have been given a really great role model for this. And in fact, people like me have had some really not great loving experiences. And so I've never done anything. I've never actually recommended things to people that weren't loving. And, I've never, do you know what I mean? I don't ask people to take medicine that I haven't tried already. So I wonder if you guys could just start to filter your life through what is a loving choice for me. It's a loving choice for me. How can I love myself even more? Even with getting the letter, I'm like, oh my God, I got the letter. I got the COVID letter. I have to stay home for 2 weeks. And, just make sure that I'm not infecting other people, and that I'm not actively, positive. I could go get a test, but whatever. I stay home anyways. I'm pretty lucky. My husband takes amazing care of me. And, sometimes we actually have our dinners delivered. We use some chef's box, and so we just we're kind of hermity people anyway. My husband's a 6'2", my son is a 6'2", and I am a 2'4". So the 2 in the human design is the hermit. So my husband and son and me, and we're all hermits. So we actually don't really care whether or not we're out in public all the time. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So what if you could trust that everything is in its divine place and space? Wouldn't that be cool if you could be like, okay, you can even actually challenge the universe. You can be like, hey, universe, I really need you to show me something if I'm on track here. So for me, I get shown, like when the clock's at like 4:44 or 11:11, any of those angel numbers. I see that tons and tons. And so that's how I know I'm on track. And the other way that I know that I'm completely supported is I'm really tapped in. Like I feel angels, and I feel, my ancestors, and I'll feel an arm around my shoulder. And, there's some songs that come on the radio that I know who they belong to. And so I know exactly who I'm supported by. And that's a pretty cool thing to be able to have. And so that's a message that I want to leave for you guys, is that you're completely supported by this experiment called Earth University. Even, mid-COVID, mid-pandemic, you're completely supported. And so there may be something in my life that I actually have to stay home for. I've been madly writing for a launch that's coming up in December, and, just really reaching out to some really remarkable people for some support with, choosing the right language and choosing the right metaphors and choosing the right client reviews to put into these sales letters, so that, I just feel solid. Like, okay, these are going to be the great things to invite people to. What do we have here? Things are super nutty, and when I ask if it's all okay, it's a yes. And if it's really nutty, I still trust. Yeah, here's the thing. If you can still trust, and, everything that you're not trusting, are you picking that up in your open centers of your body as just, information from the psychic eye? All of the people who aren't trusting. They're not trusting their life process. And what if you could just flood that with so much love? Just so much love. And if you don't know how to do that, you can be like, okay, well, body, show me what the heck this Jennifer chick's talking about. Like, what would it feel like if I just had so much love flooded on the places and spaces where I'm not trusting, where I'm allowing in these sort of, you know, dark thoughts, just flood it with so much love. And when I know I'm successful, I actually kind of tear up. It's like, getting the best hug ever, where you're like, oh my God, that's the best hug ever, where you kind of like tear up because you just feel so much love. That's what I'm recommending that you guys do. And right now, I think the biggest thing that we need to do is we need to be advocates for peace. Peace in our own lives, peace in our own process, peace in our own business, peace in our own bodies, peace in our relationships. Just like anything that's not love and it's not peace, just like figure out how to not choose it. And don't go into the like thoughts, feelings, and emotions and process. Just be like, you know what? I'm not going to fucking choose that anymore. And if somebody comes at you with something that's not peace and it's not love, like, what if you just gave yourself permission to, just like step aside like a matador and be like, ole! Like, I'm not going to fucking choose that. Thanks, but no thanks. In fact, no thanks. Yeah, because here's the thing. It's so funny. A family friend wrote this book called Peace Begins with Me. And it really, really does begin with you. And it begins with how you choose what you're going to do next, what conversations that you're going to have, and, who you're going to express your full beauty and talents with, people who can receive you, people who actually get you. Because here's the thing, if you're spending time with people who don't get you, and if you're spending time, expressing your talents with people who couldn't possibly receive you, then you kind of start feeling like shit. And, I think that that's something that might be just a full expression of what's happening on the planet right now, is people are being given an invitation to just go home and contemplate, like, who am I actually letting in my home? Who are you letting into the home of your heart? Who are you letting in? And, are they actually the kind of people that can bring you the love and the peace that you've been craving? And, if you haven't been craving love and peace, it's kind of interesting that you're watching. But yeah, I think that's just what I want to leave you guys with, is be curious about almost like a detoxification process for your body, and how you can really, really take excellent care of your nutrition and excellent care of the thoughts that are coming into your body, and people's points of view about how you should live your life. And then the next thing is to just figure out a process for yourself, or reach out to me. Like, how can I love myself more? How can I make sure that I just have really loving experiences for myself? And, and the final thing is just peace. Peace, guys. It sounds so like, 1960s, but like, it is time for us to choose to, not go into polarity, not go into like who's wrong and who's right, and, what's real and what's not real. Because your experience is the most important experience. So if you're feeling under pressure right now, then that's real for you. That is so fucking real for you. And what I'm going to recommend to you is love. Just like wrap your arms around yourself and love you. And if you've never been taught how to love, then just love you the way you'd like to be loved. You probably even know what your love languages are. Mine are words of affirmation and acts of service. And so when I'm feeling unloved, I actually talk to myself out loud and tell myself the things that I would like to hear from other people. And I do acts of service for myself. I'm like, okay, well, what's the lovingest thing that I can do for myself right now? Laundry. I better do my laundry so I have some nice clean clothes to wear this week. Or maybe a bath, or maybe a conversation with a friend, or maybe watching something really sweet on TV instead of watching people blow each other up or fight. Like what's so loving that you just have tears in your eyes when you have access to it? You just feel so loved. What is it for you? And, maybe even spend a little bit of time um, being so curious, you know? Um, it's so funny. There's that movie, Dude, Where's My Car, where they go to the drive-through and the lady's like, and then she says, and then they add more to their order. And then you just look it up. Just look at it, Dude, Where's My Car? And then on YouTube, you'll know what I'm talking about. But like, what if you wrote like, what's the lovingest thing that I could do for myself right now? So write that down and then ask yourself, and write that down. And like spend even like a half an hour writing all the things that would be the so lovingest thing for you. And be very, very curious about the themes that show up. Like, wouldn't that be so cool for you to actually know what's loving for you? Loving for you right now. You could even write that. What's super loving for me right now? Yeah. So that's what I'm inviting you to. So I hope you're having an amazing Saturday or Sunday, wherever you are on the planet. My name is Jennifer Kramer Lewis. And if you received anything from this, I would super love for you to hit that like or love button. And then also tag somebody in this message who you think needs to hear this from me. I would super love that. Or share it on your profile, or comment what you received from this. Words of affirmation are my #1 love language. So if this was very loving for you, I would love to receive your love back in the form of some feedback. So love you guys. Have a wonderful day or evening, wherever you are.